Okay, ShopDog says it's time to start a Pontiac video. So what we're going to do is start playing with the mess in here because, you know, that's where you start Pontiac videos. We're pushing things around. In fact, I'm planning to run to Menards today to get some stuff because we're finally going to hang the ceiling fans. I'm going to drop that. That's my goal this week, is to get that lowered, to get the ceiling fans up. And if I'm really ambitious, get all my airline run. So if I can get that done over this holiday week, that'd be great. I think they're up here to get the AirPod in. So I believe that's his goal, is to get that in now that we've got all the lines run. And we're so much happier with how that came out. So during all of this, some footage for a Bent 69 video may get incorporated in with the Pontiac because I think Pixie's going to play with it. And of course, they brought up an old telly to set up so that neighbor Jeff can listen to his Netflix while we're working. Alright, so he's getting in there, getting himself a little room to work. I'll go get him a light, and pretty soon we're going to have to hand him that thing and then drop the bolts through and pick the car up, because why crawl under the car if you don't have to? Another sin we noticed, he's adding a grommet to the hole they had for the air ride remote access point. So since we couldn't really come up with a better spot for it, we're reusing it, but let's not rely on electrical tape as a grommet. See, she's still pulling that seat apart, and he's in here slowly getting this sorted. Trying to find tools, which is always fun around here. Let's see where he's at. Alright. So it looks like he's getting ready to place that. And I know he's planning to get a little fancier lining up the hoses than they did with all those zip ties. So I'm curious to see how this comes out. Okay, we're kind of getting down to the broken springs. You can see here, the ones that lift the seat, they broke. So that one, yeah, both sides are sunk. So that's going to be fun. Not sure if you can actually just get those springs, because it's obviously this one curving all the way down on both sides. So those are going to have to be rebuilt. So that'll be fun. Okay, let's see how he's doing. He's put down some zip tie mounts, and you can see he's made little NASCAR brackets here, you know, just like they do on the spark plug wires, just to keep things apart, using something cheap and cheerful that you can just buy. But he's trying to make it so that these are nice and safe, easy to use, no problems at all, easy to service, and yet he can still put stuff back here if he had to on a long trip without worrying about tearing the lines out. Okay, and that's kind of what he's looking at. So he's just final trimming the lengths, keep everything nice. That's one thing that's really nice about those connectors. So yeah, that's going to work out pretty slick. The important part is, unlike before, we sorted them all out in order on how the valves are. So now, you know, when you pick up the left front corner, it's going to pick up the left front corner. That's kind of nice. Alright, so we threw Pix in the trunk. We're going to pick it up so she can hold one end of the bolt, and he can put the nuts on there. We don't want that moving. Alright, and it's almost like magic. You got somebody up there to hold it. Hopefully that showed up, and somebody down here to do the work. Okay, the big reveal. Bringing her down. I'll take the light, making sure everything clears. So there's the sub and the AirPod. That's going to work out pretty slick, I think. Okay, we're getting ready to vacuum this out. He's drilled the holes now for mounting. As you can see there, he's going to mount the sub box plate here in just a few minutes. Okay, here's a view you don't get every day. So Pixie's back in the car. He's got the holes drilled, and we had to run to Menards and get some split locks because we ran out. But so all the stainless hardware is ready, so he's going to pick her back up so he can tighten down the speaker box while I'm up here working on dropping the heater a little bit. I'd like it lower than the light. Okay, Okay, we've got that safely lowered now. That was less fun than you would hope. ShopDog went inside. He wanted to be with Mommy. So they now have the AirPod mounted. They've got the subwoofer mounted. It hasn't been vacuumed, so you can still see, you know, there's some dust from the holes, but that's not going to go anywhere. That looks really, really good. And then he's thinking about making another plate to go over the amps that could be locked down to allow him to still actually use this as some cargo space. Maybe have a captive bin or something. So we'll see what kind of neat ideas he comes up with. Okay, so this is probably how I'm closing the day. These two fighting this seat, trying to get the passenger one loose. Remember, we took 3 of us last time. So yeah, it's just once you get those axle nuts off, it's getting these apart enough to get that off, because as you can see, that is some pretty strong steel. It does not want to slide too well. So, well, yeah, it's up on a table. That helped. That alone helped. So, yeah, she's just making sure if there's anything else we need to order. I think we have everything except the replacement spring on order. And we don't have these nuts that go here, but we've got new escutcheons coming. We've got new foams, new hog rings, new covers. We're going to the houndstooth. So, yeah, so I'm not going to put this on the Bent 69. It's going to be in the Catalina.
And no broken springs on this one.
Nope, this one has no broken springs. That's good. So, yeah, time to pick up, put things away. But that's going to do it for this week's Pontiac Catalina video. Okay, I just called for heat. We've cycled it once, so you heard it kick. You'll note there's also a nice slow fan running. And you can see I got all my exhaust hooked up finally. I got the little drip loop. We got a much nicer controller. This fan in this room is now run. I couldn't bring myself to use those giant honking things, so I got a different one. So you just heard her fire, and the fan will kick on in just a second as soon as it's warm. You can see here's my water trap set up. So yeah, this thing's gonna work out pretty slick, I think. Let me back up. So now we have air conditioning, we have auxiliary heating, and we can circulate the air a little bit. So, and that's about as much as it moves right there. So see, doesn't vibrate, doesn't make any noise, but it'll warm it up in here pretty quick.